Maria was directed by Pablo Larraín and is the third movie in his somewhat trilogy of movies following prominent women at some point of time in their lives. The other two were Jackie and Spencer, that looked at Jacqueline Kennedy and Princess Diana. Here we're taking a look at Maria Callas, one of the most prominent opera singers of all time, and it's a name that is known by many across music. And we're following her during the final days of her life in Paris in 1977. As all of the fame and glory is now behind her, there's been a lot of things that have happened in her life leading up to this moment, and it's come to a point where she's looking back on a lot of that, the great things that happened, the regrets that came along the way, her relationships, what caused her to leave, and all of that building to this crescendo that is eventually going to be her final moments. And that's what the movie keeps the focus on, as we see it from her perspective, characters who are surrounding her, like the two people who are helping her in her house, and that's pretty much the gist of Maria. I like the other two movies in this trilogy from Larraín. I thought Jackie did a wonderful job with Jacqueline Kennedy, and Natalie Portman was incredible in it. And I would say the same thing for Spencer. I think Kristen Stewart did an excellent job in that. Those were two movies that got some really solid performances, and that's something that was an anticipating factor when it came to Maria as well. So I actually went and saw the movie a month ago. I saw this at a film festival, and I was waiting to talk about it because it's in theaters right now and it's going to be on Netflix in a few weeks. But having seen the movie, once again, the performance in this movie that is at the center of it all is award worthy. Angelina Jolie is an actress who I have loved in a lot of stuff. I think she's a phenomenal performer. And once again, with Maria, she is excellent. I would say this is one of the best performances of her career, if not the best. I think this is also one of the best performances of the year in general. She's incredible in this movie. And what she's being able to do with the script that is given to her over here, making certain moments feel a lot more elevated and a lot more tragic, just embodying the character of Maria Callas, is exceptional. This is definitely one of those performances that it deserves all of the praise that it's gotten, and in every single moment when she's on screen, that comes through in spades. And she does a great job of not just making those more heartbreaking moments matter, but also the moments when she's on stage. Because, of course, you're going to get to see her perform those, moments and when she was the opera singer that she was. Larraín does a really good job of making those sequences feel as immersive and as grand as possible. There's some great production work over there with some incredible costume designs and makeup work as well. There's a lot of effort that's gone into making this feel as grand as possible. When it comes to the narrative of the movie too, I would say it's fairly compelling for the most part. You're looking at it from her perspective, and Maria at this point of time, she's really just become a shell of the person that she used to be. She is someone who is currently on a lot of medication. She's not really stepping away from that. That's something that is alarming to some people, and that if she continues down that path, it's going to be catastrophic. And in the process of that, she's not entirely being able to grasp what could be reality and what could be fiction, because every now and then she might be having conversations that lead down a certain path and she sees certain things, but that's not actually what's happening. In that way, it sort of mirrors the narrative device of what Spencer had, because even though that is based on accounts of an actual weekend, we weren't in that moment with actually, Princess Diana. So we don't really know what was going on, but it was built around the fact that, there were certain things going on in her life. So there was a narrative that was, reimagined of sorts over there, which I think would be polarizing for some, because I do know some people did not like that aspect of Spencer, even though the movie overall did receive a lot of praise. I see the same thing happening for Maria as a result. In that way, there are some things that Larraín does again from, the last couple of movies that he's done in this trilogy that do come back over here. And I do think that sometimes this can work, sometimes it doesn't work, but where I think it does have the most amount of effect is when it comes to explaining a little bit more about Maria Callas's life. Let's say you're someone who doesn't know too much about her. Like, for example, me. I went into the movie knowing who Maria Callas was. I knew of her name, but I didn't know much about her life. And so me watching this movie, having very little knowledge about that, getting out of it, while I saw a few anecdotes and while I learned a little bit more, I also feel like I don't, know enough still. Like there are still some things that I would have liked a little more depth towards, and I would have liked to have seen a lot more of. But while I'm on the narrative, another thing that the movie does is that there is this story being told with the point of view of other characters who are listening to the story. This is not really a major spoiler. This is in the first 15-20 minutes of the movie, so I guess you could call it a minor-ish spoiler. So, but I'm trying not to give too much away. But she's telling the story to a couple of people who are trying to do a documentary on her. Now, whether or not those people are really there, I'm not going to answer that. But the idea is that they're sort of, getting the entire backstory out of her. And as it's proceeding, there's a couple of points where it seems to blur the line between what's going on in the movie that we're watching and whether or not they know the actual movie exists. Like, what I'm trying to say is, there's almost a sense of self-awareness to some of the dialogue. Like, there's a point where Maria hasn't sung for a while. And then one of the characters that's following her goes, "Maria, it's been a while since you've sung. The audience is now expecting you to do something. This is that part of the movie. So, you have to do it right now." And it's interesting because even in the actual movie that we're watching, in the audience, it's been a while since she's sung. So it's just very interesting how the movie frames some of that. So I don't know. Again, I'm curious to see how people feel about it. But overall, when it comes to Maria as a whole, I think there's a lot of great things in there. And I think a lot of that is carried by Angelina Jolie, who is just exceptional in this movie. I think she's nomination worthy. I hope she gets the kind of love for awards that I think she should for this movie. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But I do think that of the three trilogy, of these three movies that Lorraine has made, this is probably my least favorite of the three. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. I think it's a very solid watch. But I think Jackie and Spencer did some things better. However, that's just me. I'm curious what others are going to think about it. And I hope you guys get a chance to check it out soon. I'm going to give Maria a 7.5 out of 10. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. And as always, if you like this, please do subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the movies.